Hi, everybody. Welcome to Strip Journey. This is episode 22. It's spring. Everything is warm and nice. There is more conventions, more dance events happening all over Europe, and I'm looking forward to seeing many of you. And for my next guest, I actually saw her first at a convention, and I've been trying to find a time to talk to her for a long time. And this is the first time we're talking to somebody from Switzerland. So I'm talking in Zurich today with Maria. Hi, Maria.
Hello, Marana.
Great. Nice to have you here. Can you introduce yourself really quickly?
Oh, thank you for having me, first of all. And yes, I'm Maria. I'm official frame up representative in Switzerland, I guess since 2021.
Mm.
And I think I'm the only one so far I know. Yeah, obviously, I teach frame up in here. I also teach heels. And I am medical doctor certified. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. That's a lot of stuff. But maybe let's start with your dance story. How did you get into dance?
Actually, I didn't dance when I was a child. I was raised in very conservative orthodox family, and it's just not the thing that you do in a family like that, like dancing. But I went to musical school, so I took musical classes, and music, emotions, rhythm, all of that was always with me. When I graduated from medical academy, I started earning my own money and I took my first dance class and I went so hard from the scratch. It was working and dance hall, like pretty bold for a religious girl, right? I also explored pole dance, jazz, funk, all that stuff. Um, Actually, I've been doing pole dance, I think, for 5, 6 years on a pretty good level. I participated in competitions. I also used to teach pole dance. Yeah. And then eventually I landed in one of the events in St. Petersburg, which was organized by Baina, the famous
Mhm.
one, Stripperellas. And that was the moment, the click moment, when all of my searches were over and I felt, okay, that's it. That's what I'm looking for all of that time.
Nice. So you found your dance moment, but yeah, I think for a lot of us, pole dance was a bit of a gateway drug to some of this more frame up style things.
Exactly.
And then frame up in Switzerland, how is that going? You said you're teaching, and yeah, how did you start?
Um, oh, that was an adventure. I've never planned to become a frame up teacher or representative, whatever. I just was obsessed. I took every class. I took all of these dance camps. I've never missed one. I've been to conventions, I think twice. First in
Mm.
2021 when I got my first certificate, and the second one, I don't remember, maybe 1 year ago or something. And I think I'm not really into conventions comparing to dance camp. Um, I don't know, it's just the vibe, maybe all this competitive vibe, like everybody is showing up to get the certificate and everything. So I
Mm.
was more into dance camps. And then when I ended up in Switzerland, there was no one literally here to teach this style. So it wasn't the moment when I was ready or enough qualified to do that. There's just, there is no one to do here that. So except for me. That's how I started to teach 4 years ago and develop frame up in here in Switzerland.
I mean, it's always hard to start. So can you compare a bit how it was at the start and how it is now with like number of students and everything?
Yeah, I had some problems in the beginning. Not so many people really knew what frame up was. They asked me questions like, what is the difference between strip plastic and frame up? Or is it like heels or is it like pole dance? Do we really need to wear these chunky heels? They're really scaring us off and etc. I'm still dealing with objections like that, not so much as it was in the beginning. I think people are getting it, the style here.
Mhm.
It's like my conservative family, the same people here, they're really conservative. They're getting it. They just need time. And I'm really grateful to the people who really loyal and beautiful people who were with me from the beginning. They just didn't need any explanations or something. They fell in love with this style instantly. They just got it. And
Mm.
they take my classes for many years, already for 4 years, still with me. And I'm so grateful because I think they prove that free map can really live here in Switzerland. Because of them, I didn't give up.
Yeah, because that's, I guess, my question. I mean, medical profession, and then having this kind of, I mean, it's more than a hobby. How do you make it work?
Ooh, I didn't plan to. It was very spontaneously. When I came to Switzerland, I really thought that I will work as a doctor. I even got my C1 German certificate. So I was getting there to my doctor path in here, but it was harder than I thought because Russian diplomas they consider to be as a third world country's diplomas, and it was harder than I thought. But with dancing, it went so smooth, so easily. So I thought, okay, maybe it's a sign. I'm not giving up on being doctor in the future. I'm just following the flow.
And I guess I have a similar question too that I had when I talked to Baina. With your medical background, that's also probably helpful when teaching and explaining moves to people, especially to grown-ups.
Exactly, 100%. When it comes to breaking down some hard sequence or hard choreo on the floor, I know how to do it safely. I know like anatomy basics, all about injuries, recovery. So when I when I'm structuring my class, I always keep it in my mind how to build the class properly and safely for my students. Um, and the same with musical background. I know
Yeah.
how to explain musicality in different ways, and I love to teach not only just move to the music, but when, why, and how. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was also kind of one of my questions because you mentioned musical background. I saw you did a lot of reels where you're explaining musicality and thing. And kind of when I had like a question and asked people what would they like the most as a superpower, musicality won out. So can you kind of tap into that a bit? Because this is what I see people struggle with as well.
Yeah, you wanted me to bring an example of how I explain it. What do I do in the class?
Yeah. And how does your background also, I guess, help, break it down?
I would say it helps me. First of all, it helps me to create choreos. So I listen to the song, I break it down into layers. I don't really like to count. I prefer to mumble or to sing, to pronounce like kika, kaka, boom, tata, yeah, all of that stuff. Um, so I start from the choreo. I try to create choreo more or less precise to the musicality or some accents of the music. And I try to explain after that all of these accents to the students, make them more or less visual, if you know what I mean. Not only by showing them the choreo, but also clapping or like catching exact sounds and mumbling or something else, like different
Yeah. Also
methodics.
about the texture of the sound, right? You know,
Texture is a different thing. It's like they could be sharp, they can be numb, they could be
yeah.
different.
So we talked about your teaching experience, your medical background, musical experience, and you said you have students for 4 years or more. Do you compete? Do you have a team?
Uh, yeah. I had a break for 3 years after I moved to Switzerland from the stage.
Hmm.
Back then in Russia, I had very funny story when I started to compete in all of that competition. I can tap into that if you want. So I
See.
started to dance frame up, and after 6 months, I competed and I took first place.
Whoa.
But then, after 6 months later, I took the last place. That was really humbling. Yeah, I needed that. It's just a reminder that it's a long game story We always need to work on that, not just to be too much
Yeah.
proud of yourself. Be humble, just work. Keep working, keep doing that. And I think I also participated in teams, in solos, and everything. And the last my experience before we moved to Switzerland, it was heartbreaking. We took last places everywhere, like in team, in solo. It was so frustrating. So I took a break from frame up for 1 year
Mm.
and from stage. Then I moved to Switzerland. I started to teach and I got back to the stage recently, maybe 2 years ago. The first one was in Italy. And that was a new experience for me because I participated in duo. I've never done that before. Yeah. And we took first place. and
Nice.
and twist plot. Then next year, which means last year, we participated in World of Dance Switzerland and we took 10th place. Okay, not the last one, but
Oh yeah,
10th.
no, no, not that big of a
Not
plot
that
twist.
bad. Not that bad. Yeah. But it felt like full circle moment, full life first circle moment. First love, first 10th. So yeah, there is some job. There is still some job to do, to
Yeah.
work on.
Are you planning to compete again?
You mean in Prague?
Well, in general, just the
Yeah,
coming
in
weekend.
general, I'm planning to, but not in Prague. I just had
No,
some
no.
health issues last year, and the last year was so tough. Too much struggles in personal life, professional life, and I just decided to slow down and take care of my
Mm.
body. So I'm going to learn, take classes, and that's all, and watch the competition that
Oh yeah.
time.
Then, if not competition, what are your next plans?
Um, I'm a I'm a pretty ambitious person by nature, but because of the last year, I think I'm still slowing down. I keep teaching, keep growing the community in Switzerland, and just taking care of my body, spending time with my family, and the stuff like that. I think frame up needs time, definitely. It needs care and honesty, and I'm here for that. So we are slowly
Mm.
getting there. I'm not gonna quit teaching or something, just slowly, not
And when you
rushing
mentioned
into
like
big projects, you know.
no stage work for now.
For the maybe for half a year, maybe after summer, I will see how it looks. So as I mentioned, I've never missed any frame up dance camps, but this summer I'm gonna skip.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, first experience. Don't know what to do this summer. Probably I'm
Oh,
going to
there
Turkey.
are other camps and things in Europe, right? You could put together with some holiday.
Yeah, or in Turkey, the Camp Fabrica heels and
Oh yeah, the
sneakers
big
camp,
one. Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
big
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Nice. When you talk about community, spreading community, can you give me some numbers? Like, how many people do you get in classes nowadays?
Um, Around 15, which
Mm.
take class regularly,
Mm.
and some people who are coming and leaving and coming again. I would say maybe 20, 25 people who take classes in Zurich with me, because some of the people, they live in French speaking part of Switzerland, they can't get to my classes, or Italian speaking part, and we do online private classes.
So when we talk about you yourself, you said you've been competing and doing things. What about your own styles? What do you do when you make a choreo? You said you listen to music. You work with
Yeah,
the music.
yeah. Um,
What next?
Actually, the hardest is to find that song. For me, it's the
Mm.
hardest. The song that you want choreographed to. The moment when you find it, I start to listen it like many times, breaking down the layers and everything, all of these accents, like enjoying. And then I start to freestyle to the song I like. I record myself and pick pieces I love the most. I start to decorating them with details or creating some variations of basic elements, floor work elements. Yeah, that's basically how I work with the
Sure.
choreos.
Mhm. And when you do this for your students, do you do it like, are you teaching mostly beginners or open level or?
It's not open level, no. I have people who've never danced frame up before, but they
Mhm.
had another dance
Yeah.
background, like pole dance or contemporary, which is considered the work with the floor. So only that people I can take to my classes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's kind of always interesting for me. So when people, come and yeah, it's the floor, it's giant shoes and stuff. What kind of advice do you give the people who show up and who are like, oh no, I'm not sure about this? Or how do you, entice them to stay?
Ah, I would say first of all, come as you are. You don't need to be like flexible or perfect or super confident. You just need to be curious, and you don't need to be scared of to be challenged.
Mhm.
Maybe you need to be a little bit nerdy, like you know what I mean. Just
Work on the details, right?
work on the details exactly. So yeah, and that's all of these adjusting stuff which you learn in frame up, like adjusting to the floor, adjusting to the maybe new perception of musicality and everything. You will get in there. Just give yourself time, and all the bruises they will heal. It's just bruises. And the floor is a solid substance, so we will learn to, we will get in there. Normally, that's what I say. I try to encourage them, to hype up them,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because it might be really challenging, this style.
Exactly. It's not the easiest style to get to if you also if you have no dance experience and you dive into frame up. That's great.
Suicidal. That's
Yeah.
why there are some beginners friendly classes. My classes, unfortunately, aren't that beginners
Hmm.
friendly, but I'm planning to open beginners frame up group maybe in the future, maybe after summer, just at the moment when I feel ready.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to ask. Would you do like beginner workshops or something to kind of
I'm
get
planning to.
more clean? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Right.
have to do that, girl. I have to do that. I'm just a bit overwhelmed.
It's harder to teach beginners than people who have
No,
some
no, no. I
experience.
love I love to teach beginners. They're so nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I had experience with teaching, let's say when I started to teach
Hmm.
the frame up, all of them, all of my students, they were beginners. Right now, after 4 years, of course, they're not like pro, but they're on a good level. But I had experience regularly to teach heels, beginners, and everything. So I love to work with beginners.
Then I'll move on to next part. I always ask some people same questions, and I should finally pull out like an Excel sheet or something and start keeping score about what people prefer. Is it boots or sandals? So that's the same question I have for you.
I would go for sandal because I started with sandals.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They used to be really popular, and I think all people with pole dance background, they all have these sandals shoes. So I
Yeah.
just use them. So
Yeah, it was
I
because
would
for
pick.
Poland it was easier to get sandals than boots for a long time, right?
Yeah, and they were really popular.
Yeah. All right,
But you've done
sandals.
pole dance too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gateway drug. Especially, I think for those of us that haven't really danced as kids, it's usually like pole dance, and then you do something else. It's first you're happy being strong, and then you're like, but I want to actually do this to the rhythm. I want to do the dance side as well, and then you branch out. My next question for you, now
Yeah.
that we talked about who did we start, who did we like, and stuff, who is your kind of frame up icon or inspiration? Who was your first teacher? Now I'm also curious.
Mm, should I? Sh- the first teacher, like the first class I took, frame up class.
If you want to.
Uh, I think it was the Strip Perellas event, and the first teacher in lineup was Anya Tsigankova. She's from St.
Yeah.
Petersburg,
Yeah.
uh, and all of the the bunch of all of these top dancers from Moscow, like Nastya Urasova, Shiva, Baina, she's from St. Petersburg, Nastya Vaga, all of them. They are the old generation of frame up dancers who created this style, like Agni. You know all of that exactly.
Yes.
The nerdy girl did her research. So yeah, my icon. I love so many of them. I can't pick one. Can I say a few of them?
Yeah, of course. And especially if it's like some, we all change also. Right now, maybe it's this person's performance here or that person's performance there. Please go ahead.
Ah, so if we subdivide two schools of frame up into St. Petersburg and Moscow school, from St. Petersburg school, I love Baina and Anton Lushchev. I took their classes. Um, they really affected my style, this fluidity and everything, softness, but intense at the same time. So they affected. And from the Moscow school, I don't know if you've heard about her. I love Kris Belova.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
She's
From-
amazing. She's unique. I love her. She surprised me every class I take. I mean, all of them are unique.
What about all the classes you've taken? Do you have a favorite choreo you have learned that's not your own, or just a class, just a feeling, or something?
It's easily to say that I love other choreos than mine to answer.
Everybody's problem.
um, the favorite choreo. I would go for Irene's class to Lana Del Rey,
Ah,
West
yes.
Coast. I'm just obsessed with Lana. And Lana West Coast song was one of the first choreos that I created, but it was more beginners friendly level. Comparing to Iran, that was top, really hard
What?
level.
Not
So
like 30 moves in that first drum beat? No.
I love that one, especially how she incorporated the voguing background in that, because I also dance Vogue and I used
Yeah,
to
yeah. I
dance
saw
Vogue.
you did a lot of Vogue also when you show videos from your students. There's a lot of Vogue in there. Yeah.
Yeah, not only voguing, we also do walking. I'm obsessed with walking even more than with voguing, I think. It just reminds me frame up somehow. I don't know how to explain. No limits, emotional, expressional, very uh, precise musicality and everything.
Yeah. Like, come to Maria's classes. Not only do you need to keep your toes pointed, your legs, and be on the floor, your hands need to go up all over the place.
And backs, all of that. Exactly. Coordination is my everything. Yeah. Work with your brains. I'm a neurologist, by the way.
And I work in brain science quite a long time in my career. So there we go.
Calling.
Nice. There we go. One of my favorites. Describe frame up in one word.
One word.
One.
Okay,
Well, you know.
more or less one. I would say it's a theater. Theater.
Mm.
Theatrical, unapologetic. I don't know. The other world. Otherworldly. Yes. I go for three.
As we already concluded, we nobody likes their own choreos. But do you have a most memorable moment as a dance teacher for yourself?
Yeah. Actually, I had one last year. No, that was this year. I think last or 2 months ago, I did students interview
Really?
and they said so many nice words about me and my style and frame up in general. So I just melted. And yeah, I cried after that. I really loved that.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to hear that everything you give also actually takes in the people, right?
The seat.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I do have to ask, do you have a favorite choreo or a choreo you kind of like or your own?
I don't know, probably Speechless. It was a really easy choreo.
Mhm.
Um, just to enjoy the music, enjoy yourself, enjoy the body. just with the small part of speed and body control, just the tiny one. I would pick that one because sometimes we're too much obsessed with complicated technical choreo, so we forget to enjoy dancing. And I'm guilty too. Sinner.
Absolutely. But anything, any fun facts you want to share? Something your students might not know about you?
I believe they know everything about
Uh,
it. But okay. Sometimes when I have really hard day, I go to the class and before students arrive, I talk to myself in the mirror like, girl, you can do that. You will slay. I hope no one will see that moment in podcast. Can you cut it off? No, I'm kidding. Leave it.
it's a secret.
Top secret.
Now everybody will come earlier to your class and be like, "Ooh, we like touch her."
Okay, she's a bit off. If we didn't know that.
Yeah, nice. Um, Usually around this time, I ask, "Do you have any messages for the listeners, for people who listen, connect?"
Messages.
Yeah,
Thank you for enjoying the stuff that Marana does and makes and records for you. All of the followers who really watch till the end, each of the podcasts, bravo, applause.
I say that too. I can see when people start falling. Yeah. No, I think it's again, it's more about just getting people into. Not everybody will listen to everybody. Not everybody cares about everything, but it's just that people know that there are teachers around. There's opportunities out there, and also we are all human. You can just reach out and talk to people if there is something
Exactly.
people say that you think it's interesting. I think everybody will welcome a chat on that. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you've done a lot of camps. You've done a lot of other you said conventions and things. So, and you've been to these Prague conventions and other stuff. What can you say about the comparison about how it was in Russia, how it is here? Do you see also you've done more than one? Do you see changes? Are we getting better? Are we, you know, what do you think?
Yeah, the level is definitely different from Russian conventions. But what I love about European conventions is this supportive atmosphere. Because not maybe all of the years, previous years mostly, all of that conventions and dance camps in Russia, they were so competitive. Like, I don't like that.
Mm, mm. I guess it comes also with numbers or with prestige and things. And here we're still
Yeah,
so few. We all go back to our own little countries. So I think it's still about building it up
yeah.
instead of being competitive. You don't really win much here by being competitive right now.
It's also about being just a human, respect other people,
Mhm.
not trying to show off. Like, here am I, look at me, I'm a queen. That's what I don't like about
Mhm.
people in all these big conventions. I think the same vibe was in Turkey,
Mhm.
Camp Fabrica, in heels, but in sneakers, totally different vibe. They were so supportive, so friendly. I love that.
Yeah. But this is also, again, something we should cherish and try to nurture. And I hope when the teachers also come, like, when Baina and others come, that they see this, that we're trying to, yes, maybe we're not the world class, but we're trying to be super supportive of each other.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sharing your experience, your knowledge, your plans and your interests. I hope that next competition pays off when it happens one day. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Prague in a
Yeah,
week.
me too. Me too. Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun today, despite I was a bit nervous in the beginning. But
Oh,
after
it's
my
very fun.
coffee with vodka, it fades
Ah,
away. No, I'm kidding. Just coffee. Just
that's the
coffee.
secret. Yeah, yeah, I also have water in my water bottle.
Water. Water. Yeah.
Water with that normal week. Super. Thank you so much. Um,